Alright, from the black line, if you're doing the black line out on this hole, it is a little tricky out here. And I haven't done the black line. I've done the black line quite a few times, but it is kind of a little tricky shot down here. It seems like it's easy to roll off, but it's actually not as easy as it seems. But the whole goal is to get down here. You don't necessarily have to get all the way down to the rough, and you don't necessarily have to get way down there. Your goal is to clear the trees. So if you're taking your line here where the trees are at, you're just trying to cut those trees out. So you're trying to open it up depending on what club you're bringing. Excuse me. And this hole does scream sniper, especially if you've got a higher developed sniper. If you don't, I know lower levels, this is a hammerhead works good on this hole. But it depends on where you like to land. So if you like to come in low here where you're coming through this throat, then you're contending with the hillside. And so if you're starting it low and then trying to bend it around and trying to do the thing, then your trajectory is once again apt to roll off. I like to come at it from right about in here. And I do have to hop over this sand to get on, but I like to come at it so that once I get on the other side of this sand, I'm going straight at the hole and trying to stay on this side of the ridge. So here's the ridge, and I'm trying to stay on that side of it. And I'm trying to just ride it along flat right to the hole. So my goal is to get out into this area, and when you get out here, you're going to need a little topspin. So that's why a sniper will work better, or something with topspin. A Guardian's not, that 2 topspin and a Guardian's going to kill you right here. So if you come on this hole with a Guardian, you might want to develop a really good rapport with the white shot. So whenever you can take the white shot, you want to take that shot. I think if you're out here, if I remember correctly, if you've got a Spitfire and you're pretty far in the sand, you can make it on. But I think if you're back in the sand, or if you're over here in this one, that it'll be difficult to get on even with a Spitfire. But I don't think if you have anything else in your bag other than a Spitfire that you can get on if you're in the sand down here. So that's a big risk. It's a big risk taking the blue shot and trying to hop over this river. You gotta have a high enough developed club that you've got enough topspin to be able to clear it at this angle. So you're trying to wedge it up here. It would be nice if you could clip it at a narrow spot. So here's the narrow spot down here, but you got all this sand. So you can't ride up here. It's just too far to jump to get over this distance. So you're trying to ride down as close as you can to this point where it bends out. So right where it starts to flare out, right in this point right here, is kind of where you're looking at. So if you get this shot, you don't have to put a lot of side spin and stuff on it because it's already going. You're already coming from this direction. So you've already got this movement on the ball. So you don't have to put a lot of side spin. It's going to naturally just kind of move itself around these trees. And it's not necessarily a bad thing if you're out here a little bit further from this side. But I'm gonna work the blue shot whenever I'm on this hole. If the wind's right and we can do a great white shot, then I'll do that white shot. But I think in tournaments for me the blue line's the best. Alright, that was hole number 7. Hole number 8. Let's see if I can remember this hole. Alright, I can't lay off on this hole. The smart move on this hole when you come here in one-on-one play, I will tell you right now, the smart move is to take the black line. And your goal is to get out into this distance out here, whatever you need, and get over. And this is one of those ones where it wants to roll down in this direction. So even though you're trying to get it to go down to that point, you may want to put a little bit of left hand side spin or keep it flat so that when it comes out here, it's not forcing the issue and making it move in that direction. You don't want to end up in the rough up here. So this shot from over here is you get out somewhere out in this area, and then your next landing zone is to get your first bounce on this island, and then bounce over and end up somewhere out here on the flat. So your approach to the green is going to be somewhere on this side, usually below the line's pretty average. Anything above that line's pretty spectacular. So it's 3 shots to get on if you take the black line. I mean, there's just no two ways about it. Okay, 1 shot to here, 2 shots to there, 3 shots to get on. So the other way to go is if you hit down into this area down here and you don't bring the right equipment, you can't bounce over to here because these trees are in the way. And so if you're back here far enough, like up in this area, far enough that you could try and get around it, it's possible. I have seen people recover where they didn't get far enough down the throat to do the forward shot, so they had to recover through the trees, and it's possible. But it's not if you didn't bring the right stuff, or you know you don't have the right stuff, go take the black line. It'll take you 3 to get on. Because if the people that went this way, if somebody went this way and they didn't bring the right stuff and they get caught up, you'll still be okay. Because they could be in big trouble. So if they end up way back here. So during tournament time, and this is a good spot to start, is take this transitional line between the fairway and the first cut of rough. Okay, so right here, this transitional line. And I'm going to take my ball guide the very first time I come here, and I'm going to run that ball guide out so that wherever out here I'm maxed out, there's my rings. And I'm going to run that line, my ball guide line, right over that transitional line. And that's where I'm going to start. And I'm going to work with the wind. And in a tournament we'll know what the wind is, so we'll be able to pick a ball accordingly. And I'm going to take a power 3 ball to see what I can get with a power 3 first. And I'm going to do a max overpower hook shot, and I'm going to do maximum top spin, maximum right hand side spin, and I'm going to hit that shot, and I'm going to want my landing zone to be out in here, so that out towards the top, out towards the top up here, so that I'm rolling in this direction, up, coming down. I don't want to hook it so much that I'm coming down towards this direction. It's easier to get caught up down here if you're low. So there, you got plenty of room up here, so you can work those numbers. And I'm going to do that max overpower hook shot, and my goal is to get, and I can't remember the number, I can't remember if it's 400 or if it's farther than 400, and you want to get into that 400 yard range. You want to get down so that your ball is, there's a little depression right here on the course. See that depression? I think you need to be in front of that depression, somewhere up in this neighborhood. And obviously, the closer you are to the front, the better. I think the last time we played this hole in a tournament, and I've got this hole recorded, is I used a power 3 ball, and I was down in this area, and it was very difficult on the next shot. And I switched in the weekend round to a power 4 ball, and it got me down into this down further into the neck, and it gave me an easier shot on the next one, and I ended up getting the eagle side, or the. Is this an eagle or an albie hole? It's a par 5 getting the eagle. It's a hard hole to get an eagle on. Hard. I mean, it's typically, if you take the black shot, it's a 3-shot hole. It's 3 shots just to get on. And the shot coming onto the green, this is a little bucket. Okay, so let's talk about, now we've gotten down into our area. So there's several things that may happen to you. You can see how the green is set up. Okay, it has a backboard. Unfortunately, they put the backboard side to side instead of front to back. So this is a skateboard park, and it is super steep going this, and in the sand transition goes like this. Here's the bottom of the sand. Hey, get my pen to work. Here's the bottom of the sand trap, and then where it's coming up right here, up where there's that little teeny sliver of fairway, and then the fringe, it's real steep and real curved. And so you'll see some people come at this hole and they'll try and take that shot where they do the rough bump. And I'm all for rough bumps. But if you watch my videos, I'm almost every I don't know that there's a single rough bump that I do that's not on flat ground. I want flat rough bumps. I don't want to do it up against the hill, because if you hit it flat on the hill, it'll go straight up in the air and end up right back in the sand. And it's too risky. And it's a tight adjustment. So if you over adjust it, you could end up on the other side over here. So it's a very risky thing to come straight at it. But what'll happen sometimes is you'll end up being short out here, and your only option, because you can't make it over here, your only option is to bounce off this island and try and get out here in front. So you had one shot to get to here, 2 shots to get out in front, and then just like over here, you had 3 shots to get on. So if you're not going to bring big equipment on this hole, you're not going to go for it like you would in a tournament, then you need to take the black line. That's the line that's going to get you there. But if you come here and the wind's going good, and I'm definitely going to want to take the wind out if we have a tailwind. When I set my shot up out here and I take that shot, the tailwind's going to be pushing me farther this way. And when my hook applies, it may affect my adjustment, just because it starts to push me up towards this rough area. So I may have to, if I am getting a little bit of effect where I'm getting close to this, I just push it in a little bit and pull it back into the fairway. If the wind's going anything side to side, I'm going to take that wind out. And the reason I'm going to take that wind out is because you need to take the wind out because you've picked a line. And you know from practice that if I'm on this line and I've got my whatever ring up against that transition, and I take this max overpower shot, that it's going to end up going in this direction, and it's going to end up with whatever distance I can muster out of whatever ball I used. And you've got a wind that's going in this direction, and you're trying to get up here close towards this rough. When you're doing these max overpower shots, if you get blown off course a ring, it's a big deal out here. Big deal. So you don't want your ball to be affected by the side wind, so you take that side wind out. So you'd set the shot up with the line like you wanted out here on whatever transition. Then you'd come down here and take that wind out. So when you shoot the shot, the wind's going to push it back to the spot that you wanted on that transitional line, and it'll end up landing right there. And you can take all this other stuff out of play. So whenever you have wind that's going anywhere side wind, I'm definitely going to take that out. Headwind, if it's pure headwind coming at you, you're going to just have to deal with it. That's probably when you make that decision that, hey, this is probably not the shot. Okay, what I need to do is I need to come over here and secure this shot. And if my opponent is crazy enough to try this shot and brings out all the big stuff, there's a good chance that this shot's still going to be the good shot. But you can get down here. So once you get down here, the goal here is that you're going to come out the green from this direction and come at it around the sand. So when you get down into here, you're going to need your big dog. And your big dog has lots of topspin and lots of distance. And it has some backspin. So the deal is we can't, but it doesn't have enough backspin. We can't backspin it into the hole. So we're going to be out in this area with topspin, our goal is to just dribble it onto this skate park. And once it gets onto that skate park, if we can keep it on there where it doesn't, what'll happen is that here's what the skate park looks like. Okay, and here's the pin. And this part's up high, and this part's up high. And then it drops down on this side and goes off the back, and then it drops down on this side and goes on the sand. So it's kind of sloped. Everything on this side of this line is going this direction, and everything on this side is going in this direction, and there's a fine line here. So you come dribbling up here at the top. And you want to hit it with just enough dribble that you can keep it as it comes down and it catches the slope on the other side, that it stays on that green and doesn't just roll fast through this transition and then blow past the other side and end up on the rough on the other side. So you just have to dribble it on there. The deal is that let's say you did all that and you didn't make it. You gave yourself a shot at it, because the black line, you have no shot at it. I mean, you got a shot from out here to try and get it, but from over here, you have a putt from getting eagle. And this hole is very difficult to eagle. So I definitely want to do, and when I come to this hole, I mean, I try that shot every time. And I end up shooting this shot a lot where I'm out in front. And I don't have, and when you're out here, you're going to need a thorn. So if your shot is that, hey, I don't care about trying to get around. I like hitting off this island and I like being out here. That's my shot. Then when you get out into this area right here, you definitely want to have some backspin low clubs. So you want to make sure your wedge, your short iron, your long iron, that those clubs are backspin clubs. Because from out here, you're going to be hitting with your wood. So you want the biggest wood in your bag. All right, that was hole number 8 of Southern Pines. Hole number 9. All right, and there are, so if you can land on this island, this is the best way to get hole in one. And you can come up behind it and then bring it right down the hole, right down the backboard here, right to the hole. And it is definitely the best way to get hole in one. Any other hole in one that's on this hole is pure luck. But you do have a shot with the yellow line. The problem with the yellow line is that if you have an extra mile and you're on this hole, your center bullseye is the entire island, not the rings, just that one ring set, the first, just the glowing ball in the middle is the entire island. So if you don't hit it perfect, you're going in the drink. Now you can come at this with a more accurate club, but I think it's a distance deal. So you're going to be using your driver no matter what. I've never been a really big fan of the blue line. I've shot this shot a few times, but this isn't my cup of tea, and for a bunch of reasons. Number one, I'm bringing one trap into play. I'm bringing 2 traps into play. I'm bringing 3 traps into play. I'm bringing 4 traps into play, and not to mention all the rough that's in between all of those traps. So I'm bringing all of this stuff into play so that I can come out from this angle. And I will grant you that when I've seen people do this shot and it was on, this angle is a pretty good angle because it's coming in on the flat. There's another green, there's another par 3 I can think of where it's the same way. Everybody on this particular hole, it's flat down here at the bottom, and then it's surrounded by this hill that comes, everything drops it down onto this flat area. And that's right where the cup's at. So you're coming in and actually starting off on the green on the flat, and you're taking the entire hill and this whole backboard out of play. So yeah, the end result down here is awesome if you can pull this shot off. Most people you see are going to do the black line, somewhere in between the black and the white line. I mean, it's just, you're going to hit out here. I typically tend to hit a little farther back. So I kind of hit maybe in between, like right, let's zoom in on that a little. So when you're looking at it, look at where the black dot's at and go straight forward. And then where that X is, I'm going to put a little dot right there. Let's see, X. Okay, right there, that little point right there is kind of like where I'm starting. And I'm going to be about 2 rings off from that. Sounds familiar? And I'm going to put on about 1 backspin. And I want that 1 backspin because when it comes up here, I want it, if you don't put the backspin on it, a lot of times it'll tend to go long and you'll end up here at the top. But that 1 backspin, when it comes around this bend, will woe it up just enough that it almost drastically throws it in this direction. So in order to enhance that and make that happen, I'm going to put some curl on it in that direction. I don't have to put max curl. I'm just going to put some curl on it. This isn't an overpowered shot. So I'm a couple rings off from this point. So I'm somewhere out in this area and I'm making a full ring adjustment. And I'm doing about 1 backspin and all the side spin that you can get on it. So I'm trying to make my ball guide go like this. The deal is that you have to get way up here on this and ride it down in order to come in and get hole-in-one from this angle over here. So that's why the yellow line is so effective, because you're coming right at that. You can come right at it. So you can start your ball off down here on the flat and then backspin it or whatever you're doing to try and bring it towards the cup. So you have some options. The only problem is that if you don't hit it perfect, you're SOL. So I'm definitely a big fan of the white and the black lines on this hole. And I think more like I'm not sure exactly what the differences are, other than you could hit up here with something if you had more backspin. So if you came here and you had a big ball and you had a big driver that had backspin, you had a big Apocalypse or you had a big club, then you could get up here and you could try and bring it more on the hole. It might give you a little more control. But most of the time you're going to be hitting somewhere about this line right here. And so when I'm doing that, I want to make sure that if I have to apply topspin on it in order to get, like if my red line's out here somewhere with whatever ball that I brought, and I've got to get up here, I want to make sure that I'm putting enough topspin and I'm coming in lower on the hole. I don't want to come in, I don't want to be too close to this rough, but I don't want my trajectory to be going fully up here into this corner, because it dives into that corner when it goes up there. I mean, everybody who will ever watch this video has had that happen to them. So ideally you want to stay farther down to the right. So you can, from your starting point up here, as crazy as it sounds, you could actually move out one, which will put you more in this line, but that'll give you more clearance here so that you could apply more curl to make sure that even if you hit it great to the right, even further out, because you were able to apply so much more curl, it's still going to go in that direction. And I got so many orange lines on that screen that you couldn't see. It's almost like it was opaque. All right, that was hole number 9. Definitely a fan of the white and the black. All right, that was Southern Pines, all 9 holes. It took me 3 videos. Thanks for watching.